Welcome to my channel. I am GDP, and today I'm going to be building on my previous video about pushing the Void Corruption in the Realms Gate, and hope you guys enjoy it. So before we get started, I'd like to make a quick disclaimer that the methods that I use to beat all the puppets, you don't necessarily need to use the exact same heroes. There are several different methods that you can use and combinations. But once again, the general heroes are Carry, Rogan, Amon-Ra, and then obviously you have your Inno, and then you have your Ignises. But going into the Inno here, obviously the best build is the Splendid Magic Stone Sword. A Glittery and Radiant is possible to run. You can use those, but keep in mind that it's just going to make your takeoffs, which are basically your first couple of rounds, a lot more difficult to live. So you might need to bring some more support heroes to ensure that you live, like some more raw shields or something. But just keep in mind that a Glittery and Radiant is possible, but you are going to struggle on some of these puppets because you just do need actually the Splendid Magic Stone Sword for it to work. The reason being is because you are reducing massive amounts of damage, because these puppets are hitting for millions and millions of damage, and since this caps it at 25% of the hero's max HP, when you reduce that as much as possible, you're basically limiting how much damage that Inno can take. So the lower your HP, the lower damage he takes, which gives you more buffer for your shields to stack. So say I'm hitting for 100,000 damage and I get 100,000 shield onto me. If I'm taking a 25,000 hit, that means I'm going to have 75,000 left. But if I have, say, like the Glittery and I take a 50,000 hit, then I only have 50,000 left. And then it kind of builds off from there, as you can see how your shields will get eaten through a lot faster with a lower Magic Stone Sword. And that also means that you want higher attack, so you do get that. So that also builds that buffer for your Inno to survive. I do want to make a point that when you come across any buffs when you're going through the Realms Gate, that you are prioritizing the backline attack buff over everything else. But if that doesn't come up, anything that boosts the damage, preferably in the back line, is good. So just take those. Don't take the 100%, reduce 100% crit ones. Do not take those. But do anything like precision, if that's all you have. Anything that's the back of the line damage boost is going to be making your Inno survive in the early rounds a lot easier. So go ahead and grab those. It's going to make your life a lot better. But going on to the actual puppets, I'm not going to go ahead. I'm not going to talk about the other heroes because the gearing on the other heroes honestly doesn't matter necessarily. I mean, there is one off case where you might want to run a suicide hero, but I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But the gearing on your other heroes, normally it's going to be like a Demon Bell or a Magic Stone or a Magic Source, some sort of energy artifact on like the Raws or something. That's normally what you can run. But let's go ahead and talk about the puppets. Starting off with the one that you can't do, and that is the Wrath, Trial of Wrath. This one has crit marks. Crit marks go right through Inno's shield. It's marked damage, so Inno can't stop it. So Inno just dies. So you can't do this on a higher stage. Then let's talk about the next ones here that I have done, but I didn't actually get a screenshot of, unfortunately, not a screenshot, a video recording of, but I do have a screenshot of them. Starting off with Cruelty here. This one basically has a damage over time. This one's pretty easy to survive with Magic Stone Sword. With the Antlers Cane build, I don't think you're going to be able to do this past 60. But with Magic Stone Sword, it is relatively pretty easy. So here's the screenshot of it. So this is what I used to clear it. Moving on to the next one, Plunder here. Plunder steals attack each time they hit, and they also hit a couple times. So the initial damage is really high and is absurdly hard to take off, or quote unquote take off, which is the first couple of rounds that you need to survive. So Plunder, keep in mind, is one of the more difficult ones. Here is a screenshot of me doing it at Void Corruption 80. I have not seen it since 80. I'm not sure if I'm going to still be able to do it with the same team comp here. I might have to go to a different team comp. But that's what I used at Void Corruption 80 for the Plunder. Let's go ahead and go on to the next one here. So the next one here is Atrocity. Atrocity, the 4 Abyss one. Pretty easy. Honestly, with a Magic Stone Sword upgraded, there's pretty much no real chances to dying on this one. It's pretty much one of the more easier ones. So let's go ahead and talk about Bulwark. Bulwark is a pretty difficult one to get taken off. So your first couple rounds are going to be hard to live through. So keep that in mind, but this one is possible, and I do have a clip of me beating it. Going on to the next one here, Despair. Despair has a chance to control you. This one actually requires a kind of a specific team comp. I use a Suicide Ignis to die in the first round, so my Inno can get control immunity for the next couple rounds, so that this Inno doesn't get controlled from these puppets from that control effect. For some reason, this control effect only activates, I think, in the early rounds, because it seems like once you go through the first 5 or 6 rounds, Inno doesn't seem to get CC'd really. I don't know why it is, but I've done this multiple times, and I've seen literally hundreds of rounds and only running a Magic Stone Sword that only gives a little bit of control immunity. It doesn't really make sense to me why it's not going off as much as it should, but in the early rounds, it does go off a lot. So using the Suicide Ignis to die in the round 1 to feed control immunity into the Inno is the way to beat this. Sometimes it does take a try or two to get it done, but you can do it. Just get that Ignis hit, let her die, give the control immunity to the Inno, and you should be able to survive it. Going on to the next one, Trial of Gluttony. Once again, this is one of the easiest ones. Not really much to talk about it. This one can even be done with the Antlers Cane at really high Void Corruptions. So I hope you guys enjoy the clips of today, and see you guys in the next one.
Heard you